Carnivores will tell you that any country that has now been modernized and developed will now be eating more protein and more fat because it tastes better and probably because they think it's more nutritious. But they never tell you what the nutrition is. I'm responding to a short that basically says,
in Asian countries, if you're middle class or above, you're eating tons of fish, you're eating meat, you're eating stuff like that, and you have a little rice just because it's tradition, but that's not the bulk of your diet. But if you're poor, just like in America, just like literally every country in every time period, if you're the poorest of the poor, you're eating grains and beans. That's what you're eating, rice and beans, because you cannot afford to do better. And rice and beans or any combination of grains and legumes will keep you from starving to death.
Once these countries get a little bit richer, once they acquire more wealth, then they have more protein and they have more fat, and they just keep the starches around because it's like tradition, and it's not really that important to have starches in your life. It's not important to have sugar in your life. But at the end of the video, he mentions, if you're starving though, it will keep you alive. Completely eliminating carbohydrates. Just carbs are not necessary. Sugar is poison. Sugar is going to kill you. And sugar is the glycation, and sugar is aging you, and sugar is making everything bad in your life, and sugar is making you fat. But the starving people, the people that are the thinnest, the fittest, most attuned to the environment that they live in, they're the farmers, they're the poor people. They're the ones that are just getting by on starches. Meanwhile, they're like the backbone of the entire civilization is the poor people. And rich man's disease is gout. Most powerful elite people, very rarely do they look like they are full of energy, happy. Do they look healthy whatsoever? Do they look like even natural anymore? I mean, you can't really look at anybody anymore and assume that they haven't had some kind of Botox or hormone replacement therapy or implants or dental work, or like, I don't even know where to start, but there's a lot of things, peptides, there's a lot of things that you can do to change the way that your body looks. I find it comical that these carnivores will try to tell you that protein and fat is healthy and wealthy, and starches are for poor people. Like they're literally trying to shame you into eating the food that has created us. Just now I'm kind of stumbling upon this ital where I found this guy. I have no idea how old he is in the video. He probably is in his 60s or something. He has zero gray hair. He doesn't dye his hair. He has the most beautiful skin I have ever seen, like this shine, this glow from the sun, from the food, from his energetic disposition that he is outside, farming on his land, collecting his pumpkins, his yams, his beans, his greens, his garlic, his onions, peppers. There's just an abundance of food around him that he has planted and grown and cultivated. And then on top of that, he's having the bananas, he's having the mangoes, he's having the coconuts. So he's eating all of this food around him that is carbohydrates. And you want to tell me that he is a sad person, that he is living a not so great life, when I know there's plenty of people that are within this 9 to 5, very anti-circadian rhythm lifestyle that we've been plugged into, that would do almost anything to be in this gentleman's position. And this is just how he has lived his whole life. And carnivores will try and tell you that there's something wrong with that, or that he wishes he could have some chicken or beef or pork or whatever it is. He has chickens. He feeds them the coconut husks. Like, they're just around probably. They're just wild chickens. They didn't look like they were in some sort of contraption. They just hang out because they like his energy. And there's some food sometimes. So there's a little bit of coconuts, there's a little bit of corn, there's a little bit of seeds coming around. They're not stupid. So that's all. I just wanted to point out that if you have a lot of wealth, if you have a lot of money, this is not the same as power and vitality and energy. More money, more problems. I absolutely believe in living a simpler life that is more attuned to our natural rhythm. And what this world has set up is like an endless wheel, a Rolodex of distractions that really take you away from what it is to be primal and what it is to be connected to the limbic system that is connected to your how you smell. So if you are constantly bombarding your own self with like Febreze and air fresheners and perfumes and overly scented soaps, and then you spend a lot of time in a building that has horrible ventilation and you work under LED lights, and it's just, you have less time putting your bare feet on the ground, you don't wake up and look at the sun, you look at your phone. This kind of stuff is what's making you miserable and keeping you in a loop that is like this information. You need to just consume all of this information. You have to know what your insulin level is. You have to know what your blood glucose level is, and you don't need to know any of that. You just need to know the basic things about being a man or being a woman. And that's optimizing yourself in the world that you live in the place that you live in, and working in that pace. So going to the beach, putting your feet in the sand, going to the park, putting your feet in the grass, shooting a hoop, kicking a ball, talking to people, going to the market, getting a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of tomatoes, a little bit of peppers, a little bit of potatoes, having your fruits. I'm getting my fresh squeezed orange juice like it's from a store, blah, 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 but it's from this area. And am I adding sugar to it? Yes, because I want the calories, I want the energy, I want to get going with my day. There's nothing wrong with supplementing and working within your means and what you're doing. But to say that poor people had it so bad, eating rice and potatoes and bread and grains is a really interesting way to convince you that protein and fat is what rich people do, and protein and fat is what successful people do, and protein and fat is going to make you happy, it's going to make you rich, when it's the complete opposite. And being rich means being healthy. Being rich means being unbothered by so many things that are meant to pull you away from the path, which is just being a man or being a woman. It's just fully embodying what that means, that we have cycles and there's seasons and there's aspects of masculine and feminine within each of us, and each of those needs to be exercised and trained and refined and understood in your own level. And that's growing, or that's changing, or that's accessing what's the truth in this world. Have your juice. Have your juice. Have your ITAL foods. Have your raw till fours. Have your sugar. Have your juices. Have your fruits. Have your jams. Have what feels good. Your goyabatas, your marmalades. And then in the evening, have your warm meal, especially in this winter season. Have that starch that is satiating. Have the beans if it feels good. Like, just do things without thinking so much. If you're overthinking, you should feel things a little bit more. If you're always just feeling, I'm just gonna go by feeling, then you need to think and kind of refine and put some logic to your strategy, to your plan. There's a lot of interesting thought patterns that get put onto these lifestyle choices as carnivores, as ketos, as trying to sell you something that's just so far from what it is to be a man or woman, in my opinion. And in my experience, I wasn't feeling my best when I was very adrenaline charged because of the protein sources that I was using. Was beef, was chicken, was pork, was fish, was whatever. And that animal went through like an immense amount of hormones, antibiotics, terrible living conditions, and then we're probably charged up with an immense amount of adrenaline, what gets pushed into all of the blood and the muscles, and then that gets put on your plate. If you're even eating a animal at this point, like, are you eating lab meat? Are you eating things that aren't quite what you think they are? I don't know, and I have never really witnessed the animal dying and then everything broken down and then having it put on my plate. I sincerely can say it's very rare if that ever happened. My neighbors did have a farm, but it was a long time ago, and it's just a different world that we live in now, and things have rapidly changed very quickly. And health is wealth. Health is not just having money. Health is being able to see the world with very fresh, relaxed, energetic eyes, is being able to understand your place in the world, how you impact others and how others impact you. So be a positive change in the world. Just drink your juice in public. Have no shame about enjoying your sugar. Health, happiness, connection, and carbs. It's all the same. Have a great day.